Welcome to How Now, the podcast where we talk about how to live in the now. And here's your host, Kim Martin Raymond.
Peace and blessings, love and light, and welcome to this edition of the How Now podcast, where we talk about how to live in the now. I am your host, Kim Martin Raymond. I'm a minister, spiritual life coach, holistic nutritionist, author, and founder of Redefining You LLC, where I help my clients to realign themselves, mind, body, and spirit. And welcome to season 5 of the How Now podcast. We are officially 1 month in. We are well into our 365-day challenge, which I hope some of you have been participating in. It has been wonderful to walk alongside some of you and partner with you as we've been going through this 365-day challenge and, looking to make this a prosperous and fruitful new year. And if you are new to the How Now podcast, welcome to the show. We're excited to have you here. Please make sure that you go to my website, www.hownowpodcast.com, and then you can click on your favorite podcast platform. We have iTunes, Spotify, Podbean, iHeartRadio. Make sure that you check out one of the platforms, or you can scroll to the bottom of the page and click on the banner for this week's episode, and it will take you to the How Now YouTube channel, where you can follow my playlist, like, follow, and share any of my content, catch up on some shows that you may have missed, find out about the 365-day challenge, check out my Tuesday playlist, and also check out my show with Sharonda Barksdale, which is called Redefining Authenticity. So there's many things that you can check out on the How Now podcast. So again, go to www.hownowpodcast.com. All right. So tonight's show, we're going to be talking about what we've been talking about actually for the 365-day challenge. We've been talking about creating habits, small changes that we can do that are going to become a part of our wellness journey, things that are going to help us to be better versions of ourselves, things that we want to create as habits so that wellness is not just something that we're engaging in, it's something that is sustainable and something that's habitual. And one thing that's important for us to remember is that it's not just physical wellness. There is mental, spiritual, and physical wellness. And tied into that is your financial wellness. We have to be able to be in a space where we are financially fit, because that can affect the other aspects of our life. It can affect our physical because of the stressors that financial freedom, can alleviate if we're taking care of ourselves financially and fiscally. And so, to help me to go through the weeds of this is a former guest on my show. She is a dear friend. She's been helping me to get financially fit, and we're going to talk about that a little bit more as well. So, as is customary with the How Now podcast, I'm going to have her introduce herself at this time. Take it away, Mama.
Thank you so much, Miss Kim. I love what you do. You bring so much value to the community. I love your authenticity and your willingness to touch on different aspects of, I call it the 5 F's, right? In our faith, or in our family, our finance, our fitness, and our fun. And you really do emulate that. I love that. And especially in your introduction. Well, my name is Leah Garcia, financial strategist and insurance professional. And I serve entrepreneurs and enterprises with up to 50,000 employees. And I help them to properly protect, distribute, and transfer their wealth so they can build that legacy and create generational and multi-generational wealth for their family.
Yes. Oh my goodness. And I love that. And that's something that's so critical, especially in this time that we're in. It's important that we have our finances in order. Even though the pandemic is 3 years in, there are still people who are long haulers who are still suffering from that. We have people who are still, catching COVID. They're still having those symptoms. I have a friend who was just diagnosed with COVID last week. And so it's still prevalent in our society. And it's still important for us to make sure that, even in this political climate and in this medical climate that we're still in, that we're preparing ourselves for things that can happen and making sure that if anything happens to us, we're leaving a legacy of financial security for those who we may leave behind if something should happen to us. And that's just a real conversation that I believe that we have to have. If we're going to be honest with ourselves, we have to be honest with the fact that, something, if anything should happen to us, what is the legacy that we're leaving? Are we going to be leaving debt for our family? Are we going to be leaving our families struggling to figure out how to, put our bodies to rest? Those kinds of things are serious questions to ask. But even, not to be morbid, but even to go back to just the fact of making sure that we're taking time to get our house in order.
Yeah.
In more ways than one. We're talking about getting our bodies, our temples in order. And it's important for us to get our finances and our financial house in order. So again, like you said, we're leaving a legacy. So before we dive in, I wanted to touch on, how you even got into finances, or what was your why, or what was it that caused you to get into the financial realm and to become a financial strategist?
I love that question. Many people don't ask that. I actually started part-time. I had grown up on food stamps and welfare. And when I found myself pregnant, me and my ex-husband, his parents required that we sit down with their life insurance agent. And you know what? I didn't know anything about life insurance. I was completely blown away. What I knew is that if somebody passed away growing up, what I knew is that we went to the wealthiest relative. We did bake sales and car washes, and that's how we buried our loved ones. And so when I learned that there was something you could invest in that would take care of your family when you were no longer here, I was just blown away. I read my first life insurance policy cover to cover. I didn't understand most of it, but it was one of the proudest things I've ever done. And then, I actually, when I was looking to find a career as I'm raising my kids, I couldn't get a regular job because I was the mom who was doing all the things, right? The soccer mom, the fundraising mom. And I thought about starting a business. And one of my friends invited me into the industry, and I loved it. I fell in love with it because it was something that resonated with me. I knew that I didn't have it, and I knew there were a lot of families that could benefit from having the correct financial foundation as well.
Yeah. And I mean, it's important that, people, when we talk about financial strategists, and I had the pleasure of tuning into a show that you did earlier today, and we're talking about, the importance of, when you're talking about finances, is something that is so foreign to so many of us. We were not raised learning about finances in school. You learned math, you learned a little bit of accounting, but you were not really taught much about finances in school. So it is something that, I know, at least in my community, we kind of shied away from it because we never felt like we had the money to even talk about investing. It was like, how do you invest nothing, or how do you invest when you don't have, a large amount of money? We just assume that when we talk about financial fitness, that you have to have a certain amount of money to be able to do that. But it's not just the money. I think it's the lack of education about finances that gives us pause. And so we just automatically think that it's something that we don't even need to worry about knowing about, because we're never going to be able to embark in that, or, to understand it. Do you find that to be the case?
Yeah. I love that you're saying that. So here's my disclaimer. I say never take generic guru advice as your own personal financial recommendations. Listen, this is generic advice and it's meant for you to just open your mind, right? But when it really comes to putting your financials together, it really requires a professional. So let's say this. A lot of times people feel, well, I don't have any money, so I don't have to learn about money. I've just got all this debt, or I've got really limited income, so it's not really on the table for me. But really, we have to upgrade our growth money mind shift. That's what I call it, our growth money mind shift. Listen, our thinking is really the infrastructure of our financial house. So if we don't have the right thinking, we'll never have enough money.
Right.
So a couple of things that if you feel that, you have really, really limited financial resources and you're just kind of making ends meet, let's say that you're barely able to make ends meet. I call it the power of the penny. I say pay yourself first, even if it means you're only able to squeak out one penny. And you might say, well, gosh, Leah, it's just a penny. What the heck is that going to do? It's not the amount of money, it's the intention behind it. And do you know, Miss Kim, if you took a penny and you doubled it every day for a year, that means you took that penny and you doubled it every single day. It's called compound interest. You would
Yes.
have a number that's almost too big to quantify. You would have a number with 107 digits. So what
Wow.
I'm saying is that we just have to put the intention behind it. Once you start to really do that and you pay yourself first, let's say it's one penny. That might be one penny for a month. It might be a one penny for a year. I don't know what the number is for you, but you're
Right.
putting that at attention. And we're believers here. So I believe I can share this. Listen, it's telling our Lord above that we are valuable. He
Yes.
values us. We're worth more than gold. But yet we think that we are just have to settle for dirty rags. And I just don't accept that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when we pay ourselves first, what are we saying? We're saying that we're valuable. I had a client, I'll share this quick story. They were married when they were 14 and 16 years old, and they were field workers working
Mm.
really, really hard. Well, I met them when they were older and their kids were grown, and they had 2 houses paid off in cash in California. So that's no small feat. They had over hundreds of thousands of dollars in their bank account and over $500,000 in their retirement and investment accounts, and absolutely no debt. Now, this couple, listen, we're talking about labor jobs. These are not lucrative industries.
Right.
And the wife, she barely had a second grade education.
Mm.
And I asked her, wow, this is incredible. How did you folks do this? I know people that make much higher income than you that don't have half the assets that you have. And she says, you know what, Leah, we were working so hard and paying everybody else. We're paying the mortgage, we're paying the utilities, we're paying the car note, that I decided that we were going to pay ourselves first. And we
Wow.
just started with 5% and we just kept growing and growing until finally we were completely out of debt. So that's what I'm saying. It's just about making the decision and deciding that we are valuable. So that's number one, is pay yourself first.
Pay yourself. I'm writing these things down, and I hope everybody else is too. That's it.
Yeah.
It's a matter of paying yourself first, and it's also like you said, it's having someone that you trust to be able to have the conversation with as well, because so many of us don't know, and we're just like, okay, I don't know where to start. All I know is that I'm in a hole and I can't see my way out.
Yeah.
And it's going to cost me for somebody to come and tell me how to see my way out. And so they tend to just, we tend to go back and just try to hold on to what we can. And, I think about, my grandparents back in the day, before they were really going into banks and things like that, putting money under the mattress and,
Right.
hiding money in the house and doing things like that, because we just were not clear on, how we were supposed to go about saving. And we just, squirreled away what we could, or put it in a jar, or put it somewhere safe, just to say, well, we don't trust. And I think a lot of that is the issue as well. We don't trust enough to say, I'm not sure what to do, so I'm just going to hang on to it, and if it goes, it goes, and therein lies the problem.
Yeah. That is such a great point. So what I would say is, number one is you really have to get to know somebody that you feel you resonate with. So
Yeah.
my one-page financial plan, The Wall of Wealth, is free. You can get it. It's totally free. There's no obligation. And at least get an idea of some financial products that you may be a blind spot in your current financial house right now. So that's number one. Number two, I believe that all progress starts by telling the truth. And what I mean by that is we have to tell the truth to ourselves. Where are we really financially? Again, on my website, I have a free tool. It's called Undebted. You can download it for free, completely. Like I said, I'm not affiliated with it. It doesn't cost anything. But a lot of times people have things like this. Maybe they have a little budget, and I'm going to circle back to that because I don't call it budget. It's a spending plan. They have their spending plan over here. They have their 401k statements over there. They have their credit cards over there, and none of them, they're just kind of scattered everywhere. Well, let me ask you, if we have things kind of scattered around, is that really giving us a clear picture of where we are financially?
No.
It isn't.
No.
So first of all, we want to get all of your finances on one clean snapshot, which means we know everything that comes in, all your income, and all of your responsibilities, fixed responsibilities, and anything we're paying on a monthly and weekly and a basis.
Yeah.
And seeing our account balances, 401ks, IRAs, any retirement plans that we have, and then also looking and tracking all our debt, meaning how much do we owe?
Right.
The real number, okay? The real number.
Right.
No judgment here. Whatever that number is, it doesn't matter. The real number, what the interest rate is, and what is that minimum monthly payment, so that you can see everything easily in one area. Now, when you have that, and it can maybe be a little bit painful, and I understand that, but remember, all progress starts by telling the truth. We have to be willing to look towards our money. Once we have that, then I would say there's a lot of great books. There's a lot of great YouTubers out there that talk about a lot of different things. I have different shows that you can watch. But I want you to just start to think about, what do you really want? I say begin with the end in mind, no matter where you're starting. If you're starting with just hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt, it doesn't matter where you're starting. What is the outcome you're looking for? And you alluded to it earlier, Miss Kim. What is a legacy that you want to leave?
Right.
What does that look like? Do you have children? Do you have grandchildren? Would you like to be able to leave them in better shape than you are? And once we understand what we want, then we start to reverse engineer. But if we don't know what we want, and let me just kind of unpack this. So oftentimes we're afraid to dream.
Mm-hmm.
We're afraid to articulate the things that we really want. Well, listen, this is my belief. If you have that, it's because in your heart, it's because it's an inspiration. It's a divine download. You were given that vision. You were given that dream for a reason. It was put inside you. And I mean you, every single one of you, every single one of us.
Sorry.
So if we have that vision in mind, then we know we can reverse engineer and we can start to make those one step closer. Because sometimes if we don't see the end result, then you know what? It's punitive. Then we feel like we're being punished. We feel like we're being judged. We feel like somebody's telling us, listen, you can't do this and you can't do that. And I'm going to go circle back to the budget. I know I'm talking. They give me a little.
No, this is awesome. This is awesome.
I don't believe in the word budget. I wish we could just ban that word. I wish we could take it out of the dictionary. I think it has caused more harm than good.
Yes.
Budgets make us feel like we're being punished. It makes us feel restrictive. You can't do this, you can't do that. And by the way, don't have that coffee anymore. Listen, I never talk to my clients about budgets. I never use a word. I talk about a spending plan. Run your household just like a business. Money comes in, money goes out. Now, the decisions will evolve as you raise your awareness. Let me say that again.
Yes.
Your decisions through osmosis, as you become more aware of your money, you have this one-page plan. You see where those debts are. Then as we see progress, then their decisions will change.
Right.
But it's when we don't see any progress because we don't know. We don't know how much the 401k is. We don't know how much is in the retirement. We don't really know what the debt is costing us. And by the way, we don't really know how much we're spending every month. then
Right.
it doesn't have any, there's no substance to it.
Yeah.
But once we start to have things in one place, and we start to maybe say we're going to chip away at one credit card, not everything, maybe one credit card. And then if you can see some progress on that one credit card, then it builds up your confidence,
Right.
right? We
Right.
have a different aura about us than when we have everything in all different places. So I've talked a lot. I'd love to hear some feedback from you.
Yes, so absolutely. And I think, it is important that we do start, like you said, with being honest. We have to
Yeah,
know where we are, and I'll go back to me because this is something that this is a process that I'm going through myself. You know, what we tend to do is we see our check come, and next thing you know, we're just like, it's all gone. and
that's right.
so and so all we know is that, I had money on Monday, and it's Friday now and I'm broke. That's all we know, but we don't know how we got there. We don't
Right.
remember all of the things that we've been paying, or the little subscriptions, the little things that we do, until, like you said, we get that snapshot going.
Right.
And so I think it's so important, like you were saying, for us to be aware of our money, because that
Right.
way we can make better decisions. If we realize that we have a bill to pay, and I noticed that there are people who do this, and where they have money in their account, they thought that, or they knew they had bills to be paid, but the monies came out, and then all of a sudden they're just like, oh, I overdrew my account. I never understood how people could overdraw their account, because I was like, didn't you know you had XYZ amount of money? Didn't you know that this bill was coming out monthly? How did you overdraft, or how did you not know how much money you had? I don't know if that makes sense, but yes, that's always been an Achilles heel for me. I said, I don't understand how anybody could overdraft on the account if they knew how much money they had, or they knew how much was coming in and how much was going out. But then I realized that there are a lot of people who don't. They
That's
don't
right.
realize how much money is coming in and how much is going out. All they know is, I had some money, and now I'm just going to spend what I have, and hopefully I don't overdraw on that. But
Yeah.
there has to be a level of awareness, like you said. Baseline basic is just knowing how much you have coming in and knowing how much you have going out. It sounds simple, but there are a lot of people out there who don't know how to do that. And I like that you say it's a budget, not a budget, not a budget, that is a spending plan. I'm
That's
sorry.
right.
And not a budget, because yes, that word does feel restrictive. People want to be able to go out. I want to be able to buy those shoes. I want to be able to buy that coat. I want to be able to buy those things. A rule of thumb for me has always been, I say, I'm going to pay my bills first, and then if I have some change left over, I said, then I may go out and do a little something for myself as a treat to myself. Otherwise, I say I'm going to sit still so the coins don't fall out of my pocket. This particular week, I can do it. If this particular week I get it, I'm going to sit real still, because I have an awareness that,
That's so
okay,
funny.
I've paid what I need to pay, and there's nothing left. I'm not going to pretend that just because the account says there's money there and I paid a bill, that money, that all of a sudden I've got a surplus. Where did it come from? So I think that like you said, we have to be honest with ourselves. And a lot of us are not. We just assume that, okay, I'm just going to let this check float, or I'm just going to do this until the next time. But we are in uncertain times. So we
Yeah.
can't always be guaranteed that things are going to work out the way we think they are. And so, yeah, I love that you say that. I love that you say, make sure that you have a spending plan. Make sure that you are honest with yourself. Make sure that you are aware of the debt that you have and how much it is. And some people just don't want to know because they don't want to be overwhelmed with how much it can be.
Yeah. It can be very difficult.
Yeah.
So either get with your spouse, significant other, maybe one of your children, that you can kind of learn this together.
Yeah.
And this is one of the reasons why I don't ever use that B word.
Right.
Okay, this is one of the reasons, because we get so caught up in going out to dinner. I mean, there's some financial group, I'm going to call them financial educators. Okay.
Yeah.
They come on and they don't have a license. They're not trained. They're not certified. And now they're giving all this advice. And a lot of times you might hear this. Listen, if you've got debt, You're not going out to dinner. You're not having coffee. You better bag a lunch to work. You better sell your car, get rid of your children, and, burn your furniture. Like, I just don't believe that. I mean, if you can do that, hats off to you. I would say 99% of people are going to risk. We might do it. Let's like the gym. I'm going to go to the gym at 5 a.m. every day. And it sounds all sexy until that alarm goes off, right? And then we're like, who put the alarm off? And we live by ourselves. I mean, come on, we're doing those things. We're all caught up on that. And we're punishing ourselves every time we think we want to go out for a latte. But yet we have no idea how much our cable costs. We have no idea if we're overpaying on our insurance. We have no idea how much money's in our retirement because we haven't opened a statement in 6 years. And we don't know what that market's done to us. We've never reconciled it. We've never got any financial help. And now we've got credit cards and we missed a payment. And now our interest payment is 34%. So those are the things that are the blind spots, okay? Have the latte. I'm going to talk about, once you have your spending plan, look at every itemized spend, that thing that you're spending, and ask yourself a question. How can I make this more affordable? How can I put this into a different number? Can I make a call to somebody? Can I call the cable company and say, listen, do you have another package? Can I call my insurance company? Listen, is there another option? Can I look at my 401ks? Call your 401k advisor and ask them how, I see that I'm not making money here. Or if you don't have an advisor, find one. There are a lot of people who have services that are free. Yes, they're free, which is one of my favorite F words. Okay. Not everybody that you call is going to charge you. Right. So there are a lot of free resources. And then look at your credit cards and see really what your interest rates are. A lot of people think, well, if I can make the minimum payment, then I can afford it. Well, listen, if you're making the minimum payment, that $1,000 is probably going to cost you somewhere between $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000. Yeah. And here's another, God, this is insidious. This is so insidious. They have these things called buy now, pay later. Mm-hmm. Oh, buy now, and I don't mean like buy a house, pay later, buy a car, pay later. I'm saying buy a pizza, pay later. Don't do that. No, don't do that. Because if you don't keep that commitment, that pizza will cost you probably hundreds or thousands of dollars. Right. Because it will be credit. They're going to ding your credit. They're going to go after collections. I mean, it gets really, really ugly. So those are the things that I would be focusing on, as opposed to, then you want to have the latte. Hey, reward yourself. You deserve it. You're working hard. Go have the latte.
Right. But don't pay for it later. Like you said, get it now.
Right.
Pay for it
later.
That's right. I think so many of us get caught up in the the little things, the subscriptions, the little things, the door dashes, the extra, it's like, if you have a little thing and it's only like, oh, it's $6.99 a month, oh, it's $1.99 a month, oh, it's $9.99 a month, and you just say, oh, that's relatively cheap. But if you sit down and you write them all down, you would realize some people are spending almost $200 in subscriptions every month, or those ones that you forget to go back and you did the free trial just so that you could go and do something, and then all of a sudden you forgot that it expired, and next thing you know, it's hitting your account, and now you're down $200 because you didn't remember to cut it off. We have to be cognizant of the things that we're signing up for, the things that we have ongoing prescriptions for. That was a big thing for me, because I realized hundreds of dollars, in little subscriptions or things that I forgot. And then, of course, if it's the big one, then you're calling and saying, hey, you took $300 out of my account. But they told you had a 7-day trial and you didn't put it on your calendar and you forgot. And now you're down $200 that you didn't have to be down, because you weren't keeping track of those little things. We have to be aware of those little nuances like that, so that way we don't cause additional financial, we're not strapping ourselves financially because we are unaware of those minor, costs that come up.
Yeah, and that's brilliant.
And so that's something that, like I said, I struggled. I'm thinking of things that have been a burden for me, because at one point was for about 14 years. I was debt free, was doing fine. Bought my home. When I bought my home 28 years ago, I was debt free. I was 27 years old.
Wow.
And, it felt good to be able to have the financial power to be able to invest and to be able to purchase a home and to pay off a car and things like that. But life begins to life. And then, like I said, I decided to go back to school. And then, I decided to help my daughter with her education because I was like, oh, I'm debt free. And my dad said, hey, help your daughter out. You're debt free. You'll get good interest rates for her. And now here it is. I'm stuck with, Parent Plus loans and all kinds of, student loans and things of that nature. And so we really have to, like you said, be educated about things. Now, like you said in the show that you did earlier today, you have people who will, say, oh, I'm just going to get books and I'll be my own financial advisor. You want to go with someone who knows the business, who knows the codes, who knows about, about analyzing finances and how to create spending plans. These are things that are foreign to us, so we want to be careful not to say, "Oh, it's going to be a DIY." It's not a do-it-yourself.
It's
This is
not.
not one of those situations where you say,
No.
"Oh, I can do it myself." You can read up on things so that way you have the vocabulary that you need, because sometimes we don't know the questions to ask because we don't know the terminology. If we're not familiar with certain financial terms, we may not know the questions to ask. So educate yourself on what does interest rates mean? What do these words mean? What do balloon payments mean? What do these words mean? So that way, when you're having a conversation with someone who is a financial strategist or a financial advisor, you can use that verbiage. But you have to know what it is. You don't know what to ask if you don't know, if you don't know anything. So it's like educate yourself so that you can at least get a little familiar with the terminology and what questions you need to be asking.
Yeah, so much to kind of highlight there that you
It's a lot.
shared. I want to go back and unpack the subscriptions because that's a real great example. I love that you said that. So think about it this way. Do you know the average family doesn't even have $400 in case of an emergency? The average family would literally be homeless, filing bankruptcy if there was a $400 emergency. So let's now reverse engineer those subscriptions. Okay, let's say you're spending $200 a month on the subscription here, the subscription there. Would you have 12 months from now, would you be able to squirrel away $400 if you minimized or eliminated those subscriptions? Now you're talking about you've got several $1,000s. Just by doing that, you've separated yourself from 95% of the population. Remember, pay yourself first. The other thing that you shared is that you're so right. It is something that we feel that we're being punished for, and it's really something that we think that it's too big for us. It's too daunting. And you know what? Here's what I really believe. The right person is going to use a language that resonates with you. So if they're using all these super high technical terms, you're not ready for that, and that's okay. Find somebody that you feel really can speak your language. One thing I always say also is a lot of times when I start working with a family or business owner, entrepreneur, they have the Goonie syndrome. Do you remember the movie The Goonies?
Yes.
One of my favorite movies. My kids love that movie. Well, there was a little part in there where the little boy gets kidnapped, and then they tell him, "Listen, kid, tell us everything." He said, "Tell us everything?" "Yeah, tell us everything." So he's probably about 12 years old. "Well, when I was in third grade, I cheated on my homework. And when I was in fourth grade, I stole the lunch." He starts going everything he's ever done. And so this is what I say, and every family does it, okay? They want to tell us everything, that the mistake that they made, they would have had more money if they would have done this, if they would have bought Google stock, they had an opportunity to invest in Tesla. I mean, they tell me all these things, but I say, you know what? That's in the past.
Right.
Today, we're pushing the restart button. You get a do-over, okay? Because we can't change the past. So we have to forgive ourselves for whatever we did or did not do. Write it down. This is what I suggest, if that's you, okay? If that's somebody in this audience or somebody watching the replay. If that is you, I would say write all those things down on a really nice, clean piece of yellow notepad. I like yellow notepad. Don't use a little spiral. Get a nice yellow notepad like this and a black Sharpie, black Sharpie. Shows up really nice and vibrant when you do that. And then you're going to write all those things down. I didn't invest in Tesla. I sold my stock too soon. And then you know what you're going to do, Miss Kim?
What's that?
You're going to take that paper. You're going to tear it up. And you're going to throw it in the trash because that is so yesterday. Listen, it is your year to rise up and thrive in 2025. And we can't do that if we are beating ourselves up. We don't need anybody to be punitive to us because we are so punitive to ourselves. We're kicking ourselves. So we have to forgive ourselves and push that restart button. Listen, this is my belief. This is truly my belief. Anybody who hears my voice, anyone that I meet, come into contact with, every single person, I don't care where you started. I don't care how much money you have or think you don't have or how much debt or what things went wrong in the past. I believe that every single person that comes into contact with me is absolutely has the opportunity to be completely and totally financially independent and can build a legacy and create generational wealth. You know why? Because number one, I believe that and I talk about it. And number two, not only am I going to teach you about your debt, not only am I going to show you how to read, what to do with your 401ks, and how to pay off your credit cards, like a lot of people could do that. You might be able to do that online if you do some Googling. But I'm also going to start what? I'm going to help start to expand your thinking.
Yes.
And you know what happens? People start to open up opportunities. They get a new job. They get a new promotion. They think of a business that they never thought of. They meet somebody who wants to invest in them. I mean, I literally have had clients who attracted investors. I have one of my clients, she started her business from $0. She found an investor that did everything to set up her business.
Wow.
From the office, from the payroll, to the trucks, to everything.
Wow.
Because what did I say? All progress starts by telling the truth. When we start to tell the truth about our money, we will feel better. We're gonna feel better about our money, and we're gonna carry ourselves different. We're gonna talk different. We're gonna walk different. Not because it's me. I don't want it to say that it's me, but we're bringing the awareness to it, and you're gonna become more attractive to opportunities.
I love that. I love that. All right. So what I want to do is definitely now, like I said, take some of what we've unpacked so far and help to get people to start flexing their financial muscles. You know, it's important for us to do that. And I love that you said to write things down. So, first things first, let's write down what what expenses, what are things that are, how much we have coming in, and how much we have going out.
Yeah.
It's important that we know that number because, just like you don't get in your car and start driving to an unknown destination without putting the calculations or putting the address in, you have to know, where you are in order to know where you're going.
Right.
So, it does involve that honesty. And I love that you say that. So, first and foremost, if people are writing things, if they're writing things down, start writing down your expenses, writing down those subscriptions, everything. Look at your bank statement and see what things are coming out regularly so that way you can familiarize yourself with, where your starting point is, because you don't want to just go to someone and dump a whole bunch of receipts on their table and go, fix my life. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. We have to have some level, like you said, of awareness, and starting. I love even that you talked about the power of the penny and
Yeah.
being able to just, see what happens if you just take one penny and double it a day. Try that for the next month. Try that for the rest of February and see how much you have, and realize how interest compounds, or the concept of compound interest. Learn about things like this that are going to help you to start flexing that muscle, and that's a wonderful starting point. Okay, but what are some other things that they can do as a person who is trying to start flexing those financial muscles?
Yeah, when we start to flex those financial muscles, right? It's like anything. Our money muscle is very atrophied. And what
Yes.
happens when we start going to the gym? If you do it every day for a week and you haven't worked out in years, it's going to be a little painful. But guess what? It's not because I'm saying it. It's going to be painful for you to kind of see what's
That's right.
going on there. But this is one thing I'd like to address is we really got to talk about the mind shift, right? That's why I intentionally use these words: growth, money, mind shift. I don't believe in mindset. Something that we set is sedentary. It's static.
Mm,
There's no movement. A growth money mind shift is vibrant, right? It's current. Currency, money is currency, which is moving, evolving. And so, one thing I hear a lot of people say, and I'm going to give some pushback from this. A lot of people will say, Leah, you know what? I don't need to be rich. I just want to be comfortable. I don't need a lot of money. I just want to be able to pay my bills. Stop it. Okay, stop it. Nothing good comes in comfort. We're either growing or we're dying. That's the way it
mm,
is.
like that.
And here's the thing. Are you able to serve? Maybe you don't need the money, you don't want a big car, you don't want a big house. That's okay. I totally get that. But are you able to serve your community the way that you intended, the way that you're supposed to serve your community? And you know what? I understand we all donate our time, and I love that. We all recycle things and we give back, which we should. But I'm talking about our community. Our nonprofits, our businesses need us to be able to write checks. Our
Right.
children need us to be able to write some checks with some zeros on it. And we can't do that if we are settling. We cannot do that if we want to just go ahead and just be comfortable,
Right.
right? Listen, I believe that we can change everything that's going on. Listen, this is not a Democrat, Republican, or any of that. I'm on the Green Party. You know what party that is? That's the cash party. The cash is king party. And when we have cash, guess what? We can write checks and we
Right.
can patronize the businesses that we believe are underprivileged right now. We could shop for places that people that we feel that are going unrecognized. We can finance them starting a business because we can donate 1,000, 5,000, write a check for $1 million
Right.
because we have abundance. See, when we give out of scarcity, we attract more what? Scarcity.
Yesterday. That's right.
But when we give out of abundance, we can receive out of abundance.
And give from the overflow. I absolutely love that. I absolutely love that. And it does start, like you said, with the growth, money, mind shift. It's shifting our mind, and that's what we do. We have been challenged in so many ways, and we've made major paradigm shifts in our personal lives, and with regards to our spiritual walk, or with regards to our physical walk. And now it's important that we, like you said, flex that financial muscle and begin to shift our thinking, and that's going to help. And like I said, today's show was really about just scratching the surface
Yeah,
of figuring out where we need to be, so that way when we begin to become comfortable with talking about our finances and reconciling our finances, then we can get to that place where we're not having so much stress, all of the stress that's attached with not being able to pay your bills, and have people calling you and threatening you and all of these things. There are so many aspects of financial freedom that can eliminate those things and give us a better quality of life, that will give us an
absolutely.
opportunity to breathe.
That's right.
So
That's right.
there's a lot that goes into that. But what I want to do at this time is share your information so that people know how to get in contact with you, so that they know how to learn more about the Wall of Wealth, which is something that is awesome that Leah is doing. And then I know that she is working on the Wall of Wealth for children. And that's something that's wonderful. We have to be able to create legacy that we can pass down to those who are going to be our future. We don't want to go down in flames, because they're going to go down in flames, behind us. We're wanting to create those mantles so that they can pick up that mantle and continue to grow with their finances and with their awareness of financial freedom. We want to be able to set up our families and our legacies for success. So tell people how they can get in contact with you.
Yeah, really easy. I'm all over social media. LinkedIn, I kind of live there, right? But also they can go to my Smart Link, which is like a website. It's an upgraded website. It's leahgarcia.io. Very, very simple, easy, clean. And let me just kind of end it with this too. Anybody who feels like, you know what, I just don't even know where to start. I typically do charge for a strategy session. It's usually $97. I will do it complimentary for anyone that mentions this podcast. I've never done that before, but I will do that for your viewers, I want, if you really feel like, gosh, I don't even know how to put together this spending plan, I will hand hold you through the process. Just be prepared might be a little uncomfortable for you, but don't worry. I'm not going to judge you. I'm not going to, it's just about, let's start so that we have things together. And then at the very least, you know where things are.
That's it. That's it. So those who are listening in, we're not going to post this in the description. If you're listening in, if you mention the How Now podcast, she will do a strategy session with you for free. Okay. So
which is a great F word, isn't it?
I just absolutely, absolutely love that. Leah, I love what it is that you're doing. I love what it is that you're doing to help those in our community to create legacy, to learn how to manage their finances and to put themselves in a space of peace. For me, it's all about being able to cope, and that's create our peaceful existence. I always talk about that, and there are so many ways in which we can do that. And one of those ways is by being able to understand our finances and to put ourselves in a place where we can give, like you said, from the overflow. That's
Yes.
something that's so beautiful and that's so important. We don't have to just minimize or say, I'm just going to do it just for me, or I just want to do enough to be comfortable. We want to be able to look, take that broader stroke and say, hey, I'm not just doing this for myself. I'm doing this for my community, for those who are around this world who need us. There are so many that are in need right now. And I think that this is an important conversation to have and to start, taking those steps towards financial freedom. So thank you so much for being here with me. I'm definitely going to have you come back because there's more to talk about. There's so many different aspects of financial freedom, and I want to be able to touch on all of them. I want you to be able to come back and talk about, small businesses and talk about, individuals, talk about, helping out young people who are going through, all of or that need to learn about finances before they get to the age of going into the workforce and all of these things. This is the first time in history that we have 5 different generations in the workforce.
Right.
And so, and each one of them sees finances in a different way.
Right.
And so it's important for us to educate ourselves. So again, like I said, you're always welcome back. I look forward to having you come back. Get used to seeing her because I'm going to be having her come on the show.
I love it.
To come and hang out. And again, her website is running along the bottom of the page. And what is it called again? I want to call it the right thing.
It is a Smart Link, which is like an upgraded website. It is interactive. It's engaging. You'll love it. Especially show it to your younger millennials. They definitely will love it.
That's it. And it's leahgarcia.io. It's been going across the bottom of the screen. Make sure that you tap in. And again, if you mention the How Now podcast, she will do a free financial strategy session.
No obligation, right? No obligation. I'm not going to pressure you for anything. I want to make a difference. And if somebody really feels like they are ready to make it their year, I'm happy to do that.
That's it. Like you said, strive in 2025. Okay.
That's right.
Are there any final words that you want to leave with our listeners before we go that they can
Yes.
carry with them for the
Yeah.
rest?
So now all of you have heard me. Okay. All of you have heard me. Whether I see you tomorrow or I never see you again, I want to leave you with this. You are the one in your family. Listen, every generation we go along until the one shows up. And every family, the one shows up. And that's the person that changes their family's last name forever. It's a huge responsibility. It's huge. Many people are looking towards you. They're looking for you. Even though they might say that they don't support what you're doing, maybe they kind of put you down a little bit, but secretly they're rooting for you to win. And what does that mean? That responsibility is huge and it's heavy, but you can do it, right? It's our time to rise up and thrive in 2025. And I believe in you.
That's right. We believe in you. And with that, we're going to say thank you so much for joining us here on the How Now podcast, where we talk about how to
Awesome.
live in the now. And
Always
until
have
we
a
see
blast.
you all the next time, thanks again, my love. Love you. Till we see you the next time, I say peace.
Thank you so much. That was so great.